Yeah, so I finally figured this thing out, yo. I was switched real little. Uh, Before my parents moved. I don't even know their last name. They switched me with some other kid with like blonde hair or dirty blonde hair, and he used to dye his hair brown like mine as a teenager. Um, and they raised me up believing that I'm a Tresca, and I'm not. I'm not. I was raised by some fucking trafficking cult, and they made me believe that I was Tresca on this military base that's staged to look like North Jersey. A lot of it has working houses, working water, working everything. And somewhere else, but some of the towns aren't real. Like, for example, Maywood doesn't exist in the real New Jersey. Wallington doesn't exist in the real New Jersey. I'm actually from East Rutherford originally, but when I was really, really tiny and small, my parents moved and they swapped me with this other kid. And they kept me. I'm finding out that I might have mafia blood and shit. And it was the cult's revenge on tricking the mob, and then they would keep me from succeeding at any aspect of my life by having this huge mock staged base in somewhere. I don't know where. I believe the world is flat, and that's why they have the somewhere on the outskirts of the world. And this was the cult's way of tricking the mob uh, and putting one of their kids in that looked like me. And that's why my real sister, I'm telling you, yo, Danielle, look, the nose, dude. The nose. I don't know if you got a nose job or something later on in life, but the nose, the eyes, look, we're Italian, yo. Look at our skin. Look at how we tan. Dude, like that other guy that's in the family, I don't know your last name, but I'm your real brother. And if my voice sounds weird, it's because they were giving me hormones in my food. And now on this final phase, they kidnapped me and brought me somewhere to Asia, dude. And they're treating me like a prisoner without chains, let's just say. But it's all staged. Like, they got the cops in on it. They got all these different people in on it, that if I fucking run, I'm gonna be picked up and shit. And if my voice sounds different, they said they were giving me hormones and shit through the past, which I believe it does. I used to have a deep ass voice, dude, and they've been giving me like hormones in my food, and I couldn't understand why this was happening. Certain things, because I used to be very in shape too, and I'm getting flabby, even though, and that's why, yo, your little brother, he wasn't fat. That wasn't your little brother. I was skinny through my whole life. I was just with the wrong fucking family, dude. And that's why I even remember the last time I was in New York City. They wanted to get me out, the real New York City. They wanted to get me out because they were scared I would bump into my real family. Apparently, you guys moved to like Florida and then came back to New York City. Or, I don't know. But I've been searching for you guys my whole fucking life without knowing it. Because they had me believing my name is Jason Tresca in this staged military base of North Jersey. But it's really from a fake town called Wallington. But I'm really from originally in East Rutherford because there is no Wallington. And the only time they would let me back into the real place, um, even if there is a real Wallington, God only knows, let's just say, they would only let me into the real place, the real United States, when they were trying to frame me for stuff, for their operations of trafficking people, or when they would, when I was going to New York City heavily, because they couldn't fake all of Manhattan. So what when I was in New York City regularly, they would be that was pretty much my time to run. I even remember I had a boy that worked in like Black Ops or things like that. And he was talking about this place, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, it looks almost identical. Some parts are even nicer than the real place." But and it's he's like, you know how those military stage towns, they're usually like just empty and decrepit and everything. This one, no, it's like legit. It has working water, working plumbing, working electric, working, and you could actually live in these. And uh um I just remember every time I was going to go outside the borders of this supposed mock North Jersey base, they would have to bring me back to the house in the real place, but it wasn't my real family there anymore. It was a stage family, but it was the only family I knew because they got me so fucking young. They got me definitely before the age of 6. But they would bring me back to the real place sometimes, especially when I was going to New York City all the time. And that's why I even had a boy that worked for the government, and he was telling me, dude, he's like, yo, I just didn't believe it. But he was telling me, bro, I finally figured out what happened to you. He's like, you're not a Tresca. Stop saying you're a Tresca. You have a completely different family, completely different last name. They moved. They said you were raised by people that are trafficking, and they kept bringing in throughout your life different people that look similar to them to keep it going. And but they kept telling me, like, you're not even a Tresca. And supposedly this was these cults, these trafficking cults, revenge on the mob. They were trying to get revenge on the mob in some way without the mob really realizing it. And using me as a cover. Uh, the original staged family might have wanted to protect me more, but because they just I kind of grew up with them. Uh, but all my real family, we all have brown hair. We all have these eyes, dude. That the truth is in the eyes. That light, that light, almost like sunshine brown, not blue, not come on. The truth is in the teeth too. I mean, I lost some of mine, but we have similar teeth. We have similar noses. I'm not sure if you got a nose job or people in the family got nose jobs, but we had these similar noses. And I I met a girl even, and she's like, dude, I know your family and the fake you, but the fake you likes this other Lily girl. And my dad worked for the military, and I always wanted to meet you. She told me. She's like, and she tried to rescue me, dude, but they interrupted it. She tried to get me the fuck out of here, but they sabotaged that shit. She got me. Well, one of them got me the right Uber or taxi, I should say, out. But then when they swapped me with the other taxi in the real place, they put me with a bad, somebody sabotaging it. And she tried to but she always said, she's like, I know your sister, I know your mother, I know your father, I'm friends with the fake you, but he doesn't like me. He likes that other Lily girl. And my father told me if I met you and the real me, I would probably like her, because apparently she was just a little, overweight or some stupid shit. And because of my experiences in life, I probably would have liked her. The experiences I had made me less judgmental and vain and things like that about people. But I think I finally figured this out. This is what happened. So I had pretty much 2 staged houses that looked the same, but the original house, which is most likely in East Rutherford, New Jersey, also was staged and possibly sold a long time ago. And because they couldn't stage these identities anymore. These false identities, especially back in 2006, or around that time period, when IDs and different things started becoming scannable, and they wanted to scan your IDs everywhere for everything, even in New York City at the pot shops and stuff. Scan your ID, scan your ID. And I believe that's what fucking happened here. Or something similar to that. And it was all because they were trying to rescue that kid that you grow up with, known to be Jason. They said he was even chubbier when he was young, like he was kind of overweight and stuff like that. I know you know him as your son, and your brother, but he's not your real son and brother. Your real son and brother was kidnapped, I believe, at when I was real little. Between 0 and 4 years old. And I remember a couple times being back in the real place, because it was East Rutherford. Just like Rutherford. Rutherford's a city. In the staged military base, it's a borough. No, Rutherford's a freaking city. In the stage place, it's called the Borough of Trees. But it might be a borough in the real place. Apparently I wasn't there enough to know the difference. I was just there enough to know that something like this was going on. And that's why when I was on the North Jersey uh, thing made to look like North Jersey, the base, the functioning base. This is probably where a lot of the missing children in America end up. Um, but when I was on there, I remember always thinking things like, wait, if the sun sets there and rises there, it doesn't match up. That means that the East Rutherford in the military base isn't even towards the east. Makes no sense. It's not even towards the east. But I'm starting to figure out how this was pulled off, and they got me really young. They made me believe that I was Jason Tresca from this town in Wallington, when really my last name is something completely different. My first name might be Jason, I don't know. And that's why they even said reaching out to people is useless. I'm like a missing child that they don't know is missing. They said if you're reaching out to the Trescas, that was staged. You're not gonna find you're not gonna find any Trescas except ones that would have been in on it. If you're reaching out for your real family, you don't even know who they are. And at one point I did. Because my sister, they were taking me to Seaside Heights with my supposed mom and my sister and her friend. And they switched them out for my real sister in the middle of the night. And I remember even on the ride home, that staged mom saying, "Oh, I thought you would might like to meet your real brother for once." And she said she was really scared because even when we got pulled over by the cops, she kept going, "Help me, help me." And she said, "Jay, that's not mom." And then I remember them asking my sister questions and me questions. They're like, "Jay, does your sister have big teeth like this or small teeth?" And I was like, "They're small." "Well, that's not your real sister." And then they would ask my real sister the same fucking questions. Like, "Does your brother have dirty blonde hair or brown hair?" "Oh, he has blonde, but he dyes it brown." Well, and then I remember them saying to her, "Well, I thought you would like to meet your real brother before we grabbed him when he was young, and he was we're traffickers before we end up selling him off." And on this staged base looking place of Northeast New Jersey area. It's all propaganda, man. All your news, all your internet influencers, social medias, all this different stuff. It's all faked. It's all faked. It's faked to control the people who are out there, targets of this. And that's why I always wondered, I started thinking I could predict the future. But it wasn't like that. It was just an all eyes on me situation. Because I would say something, and then the next minute it would happen on the news. I would say, oh yeah, they're going to bust this lady for this or that. And then, boom, it's on the news like 6 months later. Oh, that business is going to close down soon. Watch. Boom, that business is closed. It's almost like they had me at some point pulling all the strings of what happened in this staged place. And that was to make me feel like nobody was pulling my strings. They had to make me feel like, oh wait, I'm so smart that I don't know what like, you get what I'm saying? Like I got my head wrapped around everything that's going on except the fact that I was being trafficked since I was little, and my real family has a freaking completely different last name. And it apparently my family is either related to the mob or something of that nature, because even when they would send in people to protect me, it would, when I was younger, early 20s and stuff like that, it was always like mafia Italian girls, or even as friends, it would be like mobsters, like literally, like with the last names Gambino and shit like that, like literally. That's who they would send in as like friends and things like that. Yeah, and see, all the neighbors are laughing at me because they know I'm making this video and they know it's probably never going to reach anybody. And they're fucking laughing at me like, ooh, we got you guys, ha ha. Haha, we staged your whole reality. We kidnapped a kid when he was young and staged his whole reality. We're so cleverly evil. Ha ha ha. Until it happens to your kid or your family. And that was the whole point. That's what they were trying to prevent, because the guy that's in my real family, probably in New York City, isn't from the family. They were trying to hide him in my real family. And it's possible, I don't know. All I know is the information I got that day when they supposedly switched my real sister with a fake one. My fake sister with the real one on the way back home. And I just remember her saying, yeah, no, my brother, his hair is blonde, but he dyes his hair. Our name used to be this, but we changed it. And then I remember my fake mom saying, oh, that's because your parents lied to you too. But apparently something happened at some hotel in the real New Jersey, possibly. When we were really young. Maybe it even happened to our real parents. And that's when they split me up from my real sister. Because I even remember we went to a vending machine. And the telepathy told me, oh, your parents, because they said, now my sister had dark brown hair like me, and they told my sister, oh yeah, just go with him to the vending machine. And apparently it's because my parents were smoking pot or some shit, my real parents, and they wanted to get us out of the room. And they wanted to get us out of my room. And I think something might have happened to them at that point. Or happened to us. That's when they started switching around kids. Because all I remember is turning around, and all of a sudden my sister didn't have the brown hair anymore. And she had like almost like dirty blonde. It was like, and that's why like I said, they got this huge off the grid military base that was staged to look like North Jersey. But you could tell because everything is in the wrong directions. And that's why some of these towns might not even exist in Jersey, in the real place. For example, a town called North Arlington, right? But there's no regular Arlington. And from where I lived, you would have to head south to get to North Arlington. Or the town East Rutherford. Maybe there's just Rutherford. Because the town East Rutherford, if it was east, by what they tell us, it would be towards New York City, but it's not. It's what would technically been north, according to the highways and the layout. And that's why even one of these lookalikes of my girlfriend, she even said, Jay, you want me to get you a compass? I think now, and I was like, a compass? What? This is before I realized anything that was going on. And I was like, why do I need a compass? And she's like, well, I'm just checking, because whatever. But she's right. She was right. The best thing to have in a place like that, as long as they are not able to reset it, is like an old school watch, a wind, as long as they don't mess with it, and a compass, like the older technology. Because if you're relying on street signs and roads and for example, the highways, you know, are completely different. The ones that say north could be heading east. The ones that say south could be heading west. And they mix everything up like that. That's what I realized. I should have had a fucking compass the whole time. I used to have a compass as a kid and somebody stole it. Shit. Now I think I know why somebody stole that. Yeah. One of my stage fathers gave it to me. And he's like, this, you use this so you know where you are. And then somebody stole it. That was probably one of the stage fathers that wanted to help me. Because they figured, what's the point of this? Nobody should have to go if we just tell him what happened to him and, you know, let him figure things out from there pretty much and go off on his own. Yeah, see? Now, I don't believe this is a real movie in America. It could have been just a fully CGI recreated movie out here. Well, not out here. Now I'm in somewhere completely different, like Asia, staged to look like the area of that base that mocks North Jersey, New York City area. But I believe that because they use frequency weapons on you to transmit, you know, messages to you and shit. And they just said, one guy said, "Why aren't we getting this over with?" And then the other one said, "He's fun to watch." And I think what I don't think this is a real movie in the real America, but it's called The Truman Show. It might have been just a CGI created thing for out here for propaganda, where they're pretty much the entire guy's life is constructed in a fake town, and as he starts to figure it out and tries to escape, they keep blocking him. So like he tries to drive down this one road, all of a sudden there's a giant chemical spill and you can't go through there. Or he tries to go on a bus, all of a sudden the bus breaks down. Or he tries to go on a boat, oh, no boats are leaving. He tries to book an airline. Oh, there's no flights for like 8 months and stuff like that. And they're just filming him and stalking him and watching him for their own entertainment. And I believe that's what is kind of one aspect going on here. And then they probably sell this shit on the dark web. Yeah, and see, they keep saying we lost money on this one. Good. Fuck yous. I hope all of the people responsible for this lose a lot more. I hope you lose your children, lose your life, lose your sanity, lose everything. Oh yeah, they're cults, so they don't care about children. Duh, I'm the one that cares. Uh, but that's why they said that. They said, dude, my one boy who supposedly was in the FBI or CIA or something, some type of intelligence. He told me, he's like, bro, you don't even know who you are. And I just couldn't believe it. He's like, dude, you're not even a Tresca. They made you think you were a Tresca. You were raised mostly on a mock military base of your town, of what you believe to be your town. And they only let you back to the real America in limited doses with handlers. So if maybe, for example, I went to the real Disney World, or when I was little, or I went to the real uh, Virginia Beach, but even at these events and stuff, they would always switch me off with new handlers, new lookalikes of what I believed to be my family. So I went into the beach, for example, and my mom and my supposed mom and sister say, "Oh, we're going back to the hotel to swim," and my supposed dad was wrapping up all the beach stuff, and he goes, go ahead, Jay, you could play in the ocean for a little longer. I was still going to be here. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm playing, riding the waves and stuff. And I look up and he's gone. And I'm like, the waves couldn't have carried me that far down the beach. He took off. Because that trip was them ending their couple year or whatever shift with me and putting me with new look-alike people. And that's why I'm walking down the beach all alone and scared. And here's the thing, even if I told the cops who I really am, it wouldn't matter because that's not who I was. They would just get the handlers to come and get me, the people who took those identities. So if I told these cops, like, I'm lost, my name's Jason Tresca, I'm from New Jersey, it's going to be a handler that comes get me. And eventually it was a lifeguard that said, oh, is your name Jason? And I was like, yeah, because I was kind of scared. And he's like, there's lots of people looking for you. And that's why me walking off, that was actually, if I was a little bit older, that would have been the smartest thing. The problem is, I was only maybe 8 years old. And then a new look-alike mom, dressed the same, came and got me. Or one time we were in this clothing store in North Jersey, and I look up, and I was looking at clothes or something, and my mom and sister were gone. All of a sudden, another sister comes and gets me and says, hey, Jay, oh, Ma, he's right here. These places that they were doing these swaps must have thought it was the weirdest thing, like they were seeing doubles. And the weird thing is the kid, so they supposedly had me impregnate one of the lookalikes of my girlfriend, and they have other lookalikes of the same kid, and they're supposedly doing the same thing with him. Because one of these kids, I don't know which one's my kid, but one of these kids, he's with some Asian fucking parents. He's probably terrified. He's like, that doesn't look like my mom, my dad, and my grandma and uncle. These people are freaking, I don't know, Japanese, Chinese, whatever they are. I don't know. I don't even, but Asian. Let's just generalize. They have to be Asian. And he's probably going to be switched around back and forth too, and used in some way. But he has one advantage. He could catch on quicker. I know he's autistic and he has problems, but it shouldn't take as long to realize, but they're probably going to tell him some bullshit story that he was adopted. Some bullshit ass story that's not true. You were switched, kid. You were switched. Your real mom and dad love you. I can promise you that. They just don't know. Just like what most likely happened with me. They just don't know. Because trust me, the second I thought I had a son, I loved him wholeheartedly. And I would never want something like this to happen to him. That's what I mean. And that's why the second I was in the real place, they would send in like handlers to try to mess with me. They would even ask to see my ID. And as soon as they see my ID, they see that it's fake because it's a fake fucking town. And they're like, oh, it's him. Get him out of here. And that's why people used to ask me when I was in the real place. Okay, when I was in the real Jersey City, in the real New Jersey, I was out in like a hood section. And at least that's where I believe I was. And I remember this one guy talking to me, asking me, oh, where are you from? Where are you from? And I'm telling him, and he's like, where's that? I was like, dude, we're only 20, 30 minutes away from it, or whatever. He's like, no, I never heard of that. And I was getting a lot of that through my life. I would talk to these girls, and they'd be like, where's that? I've never heard of that. Even when I met my original girlfriend, well, I believe it was the original real Lily at first. She even told me, she's like, Jay, I tried to put in your town. I was trying to use Maps app and put in your town, but your address comes up in East Rutherford, which was weird. Fuck these parents. It's child trafficking ass bitches. I'm just figuring out when they're gonna come for me and how I'm gonna fight. Because when I was snagged at the hotel originally as a kid, I didn't know what was going on and I couldn't put up a fight. The second time I was snagged, when they staged it and swapped me with some other supposed Tresca kid, I'd put up a fight. Yo, fuck y'all. And now I'm in a place where everybody's in on it. So imagine being surrounded that no matter where you move or what you do, they're gonna make a move. And that's why they don't have me chained up and shit. Because they know. They know they got me in a... It's a chain. It's almost like we didn't put chains on your physical body. We put the chains on your brain. Because you know what's going on now. And that's why even if they try to stage some fake ass town cops or whatever, like, I'm fighting, bro. I don't give a fuck. I know you ain't real. You as real as the fucking town is and shit. Or as that town was. But they might have already took me to a foreign country that looks like it. So it's gonna be foreign fucking authorities that they're gonna use to grab me. People in on it. But I'm fighting them too. In other words, I don't care if you're fake or real at this point. They already blurred those lines for me. And see, they act like they're teaching me a lesson when I was the one kidnapped as a kid and put into a fake family. And you're teaching me the lesson? Like, fuck you. Go to hell, bro. Take that shit fucking and shove it up your ass, bro. You stupid fucking trafficking cults. That's what they are. And just because they're tied into the government and military, oh, we could do this to people. We're so powerful and we get to choose who goes into what family and how we do all of this. And what kids go and what kids stay and what